Hello, from Macomb City Hall, this is Mayor Mike Inman. It is Friday, April 17th, 2020. We're here with our latest update on the COVID-19 pandemic that is affecting us not only here in Macomb, but across the state, across the United States, and across the world. I have some information we'd like to share with you today. First of all, maybe on a little bit of a positive note, an unusual weather pattern that we've been experiencing the last week or so, and quite honestly, we probably dodged a bullet yesterday from the anticipation of several inches of snow to what we have on the ground today. So grateful for that today. We'd like to continue sharing information with you and talk specifically about the efforts that you're doing to maintain compliance with the CDC guidelines and the governor's order on stay at home. Would encourage you to keep those up. Many of you are doing an excellent job of compliance, and we can't tell you how much we understand how difficult that is. All of us are living that same environment and understand the challenges. Some of our community members have more challenges with it than others. Again, reminding folks to take care of one another the best they can. But for those of you that are fully engaged in that activity, we thank you. I would tell you that you're having an effect. But I would also take a minute and remind those folks that are still not complying with the full spirit of the governor's order to please do that. Those CDC guidelines, as you recall now, recommend the wearing of a face shield or a mask over your face whenever you're out engaging in those essential activities in public. We'd remind you how important that is. I think my observation is that more and more and more people are doing that, and I think that's a good thing at the end of the day. However, I would tell you that today, the Illinois Department of Public Health and the governor's office reported the highest number of reported cases, 1,800 in the last 24 hours. That is the all-time high since the records were started kept about a month ago. A couple of factors there that may be playing in there, but the simple fact is this is the highest number we've had. Deaths were reported at 62 additional deaths across the state. So it would be, I think, an error for us to assume that we've reached the peak as long as these numbers continue to climb. So I think our efforts at social distancing, complying with the order to stay home except for essential business, wearing a mask, washing your hands, are just as important now as they ever have been, and would encourage you with the utmost sincerity to continue to engage in that. Speaking of masks, the McDonough County Health Department is still asking for those of you that are willing and able to engage in making masks for distribution across the community, that if you would do so, there's a website appearing on your screen now that will send you to the Health Department's website. There'll be suggestions on there, recommendations, and all sorts of opportunities for you to get direction on how you can help with that and then where to take those when you're done. We'd also remind folks that today Governor Pritzker announced that the school year for K through 12 students across the state of Illinois will not be had. In other words, no more school, in-person attendance. For those of you that might be listening saying no more school, no, it'll be no more in-person school this year. The online learning will continue, and I think many of you that are involved in the Macomb schools heard a very good telecommunications outreach from Superintendent Mark Toomey yesterday afternoon, a very good summary of where the school district is here. And we also understand that in spite of technology being widely available, there are still some in our community, and Dr. Toomey mentioned this in his telephone call yesterday, there are still folks that are challenged with being able to get children online. So we'd encourage you to, there's a website or a connection on your screen right now that would take you to a map showing you exactly where Wi-Fi hotspots. There are actually 13 spread across the city of Macomb for you to use if you or your children are having difficulty accessing broadband services. These are sites that in the city that you and your students could go to. Many of them are outside businesses or in open spaces. You could stay in your car and your children could engage in their school activity that way. Again, check that site out for exactly where they're at. We had a Zoom meeting, a web meeting today with some of the small business leaders in our community to discuss the Downstate Stabilization program that's being offered through the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Had good participation. There's a link being shown on your screen now for another opportunity to engage in that next week for those small business folks that would like to see what those programs are like and have some interaction with city staff. John Bannon from the Office of Community Development, Kim Pierce from Macomb Economic Development Corporation have been springing up those teleconference meetings. Had a good dialogue with, I sat in on them this morning as well, good dialogue in the community about what's available in the application process and some opportunity for us to help in getting that going for you. Speaking of small businesses, we want to really give our essential businesses that are staying open, helping us get through this. You know who you are. We want to thank you for that. Our restaurants, they're trying everything possible to keep the opportunity for them not only to serve the community, but keep their business open. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and we would encourage folks to patronize them as much as possible during the balance of this stay-at-home order. Also like to, another shout out to one of our local manufacturing firms. They provided some face shields for the McDonough District Hospital staff. Yetter Manufacturing, local entity, was able to fabricate those and then provide those to the hospital. So kudos to all those folks at Yetter for stepping up. And again, we would remind you of a couple other things going on. The annual spring cleanup, the citywide cleanup that is usually scheduled for the second week of May, that has been postponed, not canceled, but postponed due to the stay-at-home order. Waste Management notified us that some time back, but we want to let you know if, as you're preparing for that, please don't be setting additional items at the curbside, either now or what you would think would be the traditional time. That has been canceled. Postponed. We will let you know when that is ready to go. Part of the issue there is that Waste Management usually has two-person crews when they're working that extra effort. And of course, under the guidance from the CDC, they're trying to maintain social distancing for the health of their employees. So it's not really possible right now. They'll be working on alternatives to address that. And again, it's postponed, and we'll let you know when that is ready to go again. So again, just a few reminders. Unfortunately, I don't believe and the governor doesn't, the Illinois Department of Public Health does not believe we've reached the peak in the spread of this virus in the state yet. We maintain right now 3 confirmed cases in McDonough County. There is an anticipation and expectation that there will be more. But again, that only drives home the point that we must do our very best to comply with the stay-at-home order and do our very best at following the CDC guidelines. We will get through this. It's very important that we're all working together. And we'd remind you that even though you're watching this on either a Facebook platform or YouTube platform, for those in your sphere of influence, your friends, neighbors that don't necessarily have access to that via the internet, we would remind you that this same information is being shared on channel 15 on Comcast network, and the same is also being shown on our local access channel if you're an MTC Communications television subscriber. So it's available, and share as you see fit that information about other outlets that this information is being, and other platforms this is being shared on. For now, that's going to do it from here. We're thinking about you, and we'll be in touch again soon.